Hello, my name is David Gelsthopre, Curator of Earth Science Collections here at Manchester Museum. And in the run-up to the Climate Control exhibition and programme that starts in May through to September this year, we're looking at some of the themes that we're covering in the exhibition and programme. And one of the themes that we're covering is energy. And surprisingly, about 17% of the UK energy that's generated actually comes from coal. And it's a really interesting story. So most of the coal that's been mined previously, mostly in Victorian times, in the UK is from around 300 million years ago, and it's quite an interesting story about how it actually formed. So coal forms from when plants naturally die, and we had a lot of plants, much more than today, around 300 million years ago, and they died, fell into low oxygen bogs and marshes, and then over time the kind of massive amounts of layers of plants eventually form peat, and then over time, millions of years and the burying deep within the ground, these large layers of plants eventually formed coal. And what we can see on this specimen here is it's mostly mudstone, which is the grey behind, but the actual kind of outlines of bits of leaves, they effectively a really thin layer of coal. And what happens when you get masses of these actual layers of plant debris actually forming, it eventually forms and compacts into a really sort of obvious layer of this really carbon-rich coal. And this is a really beautiful specimen from near Wigan. So the reason we're talking about coal is coal is what's known as a fossil fuel. So this means amazing process of these plants locking up this carbon more than 300 million years ago is actually effectively being reversed when we burn coal to generate electricity today. And the difference is that it took millions of years for this carbon to be trapped. It's been trapped deep in the earth, and effectively we're massively releasing it incredibly quickly in the power generating process and also the industrial process of the past 150 years. And it has had a big impact on our climate. There's been around 1 degree C rising in the global average temperature since around 1880, and the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere are at the highest they've been in the last 800,000 years. And it can be quite a depressing story, but really we want to tell this story because partly it's an amazing process, but also if we just think a bit more carefully and a bit more deeply about where our energy comes from and how we generate it and things like insulating in houses, we can make a massive, really positive difference to climate change.